Hmm. Uh, huh?
You're listening to Cryptid Clues, featuring your hosts, Taylor Field and Ruben Olson.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You tuned into another episode of Cryptid Clues. I'm your host, Taylor Field, and this is another special Encounters episode. Today, I am joined by Nick, who has had experiences of a paranormal kind in an old place of residence between him and his family. Well, Nick, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So you've had a paranormal experience at a place of residence, and I'm excited for you to go in from start to finish and basically explain how it started and where it went and how it concluded for you guys.
Sure. Yeah. yeah. So it started in my place of residence. I was living in a townhome, and I was with my girlfriend and her daughter. We lived together, and it all began with my girlfriend's daughter. Her name is Anastasia. She fell ill for about maybe a day or two, and it wasn't like a normal flu symptoms or fever and stuff like that. It wasn't like a usual illness. She was on the couch, almost like lethargic. She couldn't move. She didn't want to move. She didn't want to be touched. She was just on the middle of the couch, lethargic, and we couldn't, she didn't want to eat. She was just like in a strange sort of funk, but she was clearly like ill. She had like no energy. And, we both thought, she's just coming down with something. It's definitely a bit strange. It was definitely different. I was taking note of all of it very closely. And I had experienced a bit of illness as well. Similar, not quite the same, but I had no energy. I was on my bed though. And so something happened to me, but particularly for her, she was on the middle of the couch, and maybe about 5 days later, or a handful of days later, after she had this sort of illness on the couch, she came to my girlfriend and I, and she said that there's a dead guy on the couch and he wants a cookie. And we were both sort of taken back, just kind of like, whoa, like that's out of the blue. and she was like sincere. She was like, there's a dead guy on the couch and he would like a cookie. And we both kind of looked at each other because she was 3 years old at the time, I should mention. Her daughter is 3 years old. She's pretty sensitive, I guess, to sort of the spirit realm. And we hadn't talked to her about like life and death and what any of that means. She's 3 years old, and she was describing to us that, there was a deceased person that she could see visually, and he wanted something. And this wasn't my first encounter with sort of ethereal realm or sort of the spiritual realm. So I was cautious. I tend to not trust any spirits just in general, but, I have had some other experiences. And so, I sort of inquired with Anastasia. I said, well, you can see him. And she was like, yep, he's sitting on the couch. And I said, what does he look like? Is he young or old? And she was like, yep, he's young and he's old. I got a few sort of mixed answers that, at first I was like, maybe she's just being a 3-year-old that's, pretending, a cookie is also like a kind of specific item that, kids would love to have if they could find their way to get it. Right. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll play along with this. I was like, all right, so he wants this cookie. And I was like, the dead guy wants the cookie. And she's like, yeah, he wants the cookie. And I was like, okay. So I went to the store, got a pack of Chips Ahoy, chocolate chip cookies. And I was like, let's find out. Let's see if, this is her wanting the cookie or if this is a dead guy wanting the cookie. So we put a couple cookies on like a plate next to the couch. And she was like very sincere and genuine. She had no interest in the cookie whatsoever. And that was, for me, the first note that this was genuine, this was real for her. Because she had no interest in the cookie whatsoever. And, we set it down, and she described that he was happy or that he was pleased. She didn't describe too much, more than that. But when I saw that she didn't touch the cookies at all, I knew that there was something very real taking place. And I've also known basically that, spirits always want something from us. They're always basically trying to seek physicality again, or to get back here. They feed off of basically, the human realm. And so I realized very quickly that, this was real for her, and that it was also, he was sitting on the exact spot that she had been ill, the days prior, where she was lethargic on the couch. He was sitting exactly right there, or he was whatever, dwelling there. And so this was quite alarming for us, because, the spirits in your house, and, your child had just been affected pretty intensely. It was a, concerning illness that she was having. And it didn't linger, it was like a day, maybe a day and a half or so. And so she went to her dad's on the weekend, and I contacted my teacher, who I study with, essentially within like a Taoist tradition. And he's very skilled in those sorts of spiritual nature of things, the spiritual realm. And he gave me what's called a talismanic fu, which is used commonly within the Taoist tradition for all sorts of things, of blessings, dispelling ghosts or spirits, empowering yourself for whatever means, or empowering a space. Basically, it's like almost like you're writing a specific code within the matrix of our reality, and it just enhances or changes a space or an item or an object. It's kind of like an empowered symbol. And so I did a quick ritual of, drawing this fu and basically putting it into water, making blessed water. And then I sprinkled it throughout the house over the weekend when Anastasia was gone. So she didn't know that I was doing this. And he instructed me, how to do it. And it dispels this spirit out of the house. They don't have any kind of rain or space to dwell in when you bless it with holy water. And so, I did the thing around the house, blessed it with the holy water. And, we sort of said, all right, well, let's see what happens when she comes back. Because she was the only one who was really seeing it or engaging with it. We had no visual of it or whatever. So after the weekend, she comes home, and I wasn't there, but my girlfriend described to me that when she entered the door, we usually always take off our shoes and walk in, and she upon opening the door ran inside to where the couch was, and she was like seeing something visually, and she was engaged, and she said, "He's leaving, he's leaving, he's gone." And my girlfriend was like, "What? Who's leaving? Who's gone?" Kind of playing dumb to to the whole situation. And she said, "The dead guy who wanted the cookie, he's going. He's not here anymore." And she was kind of oh well, all right. She just kind of played along, okay, I guess he's going. But later, when she described this to me, the extent at which her daughter Anastasia described that this spirit was leaving and was gone, we knew that the talismanic foo had worked. That was a very clear sign, for her, because she was definitely like seeing or had some kind of experience that he was gone, that he was leaving. However, there was one concerning moment is that she described, she's like, "Oh, it's okay, he'll be back." And we thought, "Oh no, oh dear, that's not good." But yeah, so she had kind of given us that confirmation that the foo had worked, because we didn't really know whether it was going to work or not. It's kind of one of those things that unless you're seeing it directly or having a direct experience, then you'll know. But Anastasia confirmed that for us, and yeah, we didn't have any of that spirit remaining. That spirit definitely left and was gone. It did not linger after that. It didn't come back. Yeah, that was the main bulk of that incident. Did you have any questions?
Yeah, so with that incident, and I guess I'll start earlier on. So she started to have this experience, and you guys noticed there was a change in how things were kind of going. And you said that she was seeing this, but you guys weren't experiencing or seeing it. So was it basically, as you were speaking to her, she was seeing it clear as day in the room while you guys were standing there engaging with her?
Yes, that's right. She
Okay.
acknowledged that there was something else other than us in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, yeah.
And this was just middle of the day?
Yeah, this was like middle of the day. It was like any time of the day. It was like walk by the couch. She's like, "Oh, see you, dead guy." It's like, whoa. Yeah, it was very real for her. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So when you went the route of getting the cookies, putting the cookies there, did anything kind of trigger? Was anything instigated, or did things just kind of, he got his cookies and that's what he wanted?
Yeah, it didn't seem like there was much after, like we gave the cookies there, and it wasn't like she saw him picking up and eating the cookies, but she described that he was pleased.
Mm-hmm.
And in basically almost every culture in the East, making offerings to the spirits of sweets, particularly fruits or sweets, is very common. I've spent a lot of time in Thailand, where almost every house and even business has what's called a spirit house. And they have like a ladder coming up to an earthly realm home, and then they have basically like a heavenly spirit home as well. And they often will put offerings of like little sweets and fruits and like juices and things to appease the spirits or the spiritual realm. And so when I heard that he wanted the cookie, I was definitely understanding that this could be real, that this spirit is looking for some kind of appeasement, basically. And I didn't wish to get on the wrong side of any spirits, considering the fact that, she was already on the couch for a day, lethargic. I realized that, maybe he's already had his feast, and he's looking for something more. But, I didn't want to get on the wrong side of the spirit.
And you felt that would happen if you didn't go and get these cookies? You feel like it might have triggered, or?
No, not necessarily. I don't really exactly know how they respond. But I was doing it more for the confirmation that Anastasia did give me, in that it was dedicated for something else. And this is a child who, she likes cookies. She would ask me, for treats and things, like that sometimes already. But this was clearly not for her, and she had no interest in it. It was for something else. That's mainly why I got it. I kind of wanted to see what happened.
Yeah. So after this concluded and you had essentially cleansed the house, was there anything that eventually came back like she had mentioned?
Not in the same respect, no. So we did have another experience of some kind of entities of some spiritual nature in the bedroom, which was in a totally separate room of the house. And that was very visceral, particularly for my girlfriend, who, I think it was something different, because it was already kind of started well before this scenario. I think this was a different scenario than Anastasia and the dead guy who wanted a cookie. But we did have something else still taking place in the house, although it was brief. It didn't last long either.
But
there was a notable difference after the blessing and the cleansing of the house. There was a sort of a palpable feeling of something different in the house. And maybe it's just the placebo effect. Maybe it's something subtle, more energetic. But it was very clear, that something had been removed.
So it felt more positive then.
Yeah, definitely. It felt lighter, less like I don't know, heavy, dense.
With this other experience, when you say visceral, how do you mean? What exactly was it that was engaged?
So my girlfriend was experiencing sleeping difficulties, mainly with in the night. She was co-sleeping with her daughter, her 3-year-old daughter, and I think this was actually, I don't entirely remember whether it was before or after it. Yeah, it could have certainly been before. It could have also been after. Don't entirely remember. But she would basically wake up in the night with sensing that something is in the room, and a dark energy, a dark something is in the room. And she basically sensed a presence come up from the corner of the room. In an upper corner, it's kind of slithered down to the floor, up onto the bed, and basically she had a sleep paralysis where she couldn't move her body at that time. And that definitely scared her quite a bit. That was a bit frightening. And this actually happened, multiple times. And I even experienced something when I slept in the bed on the weekends with her, and I would feel a very clear, like almost like something's crawling on the bed over the sheets. It was like I could feel a depression, like there was something on top of the bed, which was a bit alarming considering we weren't inviting guests.
Mm-hmm.
But that definitely all ended after a certain time. Maybe that took place before as well. I don't really remember now so much because that was mostly affecting her, not me.
Mm-hmm. So it wasn't in any other rooms of the house that this was happening. It was happening in her room.
It was also Anastasia's room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so one specific room. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Did Anastasia ever mention anything in regards to that, or was it just your girlfriend?
No, I don't believe. Well, actually, no, that's not true. My girlfriend certainly did, and Anastasia also did too. Kind of more. She talked about the monsters that would come at night, and she definitely, like, this was very real for her. She was definitely afflicted by things in the night there for a period of time. And I'm not entirely sure that even ended even after the cleansing of the house, but it certainly ended when we moved out of that place. She definitely described that the monsters no longer were there. So, she was certainly having things visit her, and she definitely had lots of nightmares in that house. It wasn't really a pleasant experience, really.
Mm-hmm. And she doesn't have anything still experiencing now, does she?
No, she's a pretty good girl, but just like the occasional nightmare that kids have, but she not nearly as much as in that house. It was like regular nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's doing really good, but she's definitely quite sensitive.
Mm-hmm. So that place that you guys lived in, do you know much of the history? Like, let's say previous tenants that were there, anything along those lines, or was it something? Was it something you guys got interested enough to look into, or?
We did ask some of the neighbors who we were good friends with. We had some nice close neighbors that they would watch Anastasia and we'd hang out and whatnot. And we certainly asked them if they had experienced anything out of the normal or sort of spooky, sort of strange. And they said they hadn't, but that they didn't have much history on the building either. But they did mention that there are other tenants in like the townhome there that that had experienced stuff. And we were in basically like an upper floor of the townhome, and kind of next to us and below there was a woman who she definitely was very spooky in her own right. She didn't like people or like anyone. She was very she was very mean and grumpy and didn't engage with anyone. She was, you could see that her heart was filled with hate and like something dark was there. I don't know if that was involved, but like outside, like she had some little wooden furniture outside her front door, and it had like carvings of like hate, like I hate you, and like very bad, like dark kind of things. So I don't know, maybe she was practicing some strange stuff in there, invoking, conjuring up demons, who knows.
Yeah. Especially if you have signage out front that says hate and everything on it. That's kind of like a beacon for those things.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, it's unfortunate, but, people are far less aware of what they're doing when they're engaging in like rituals, or like, say, not to like bag on anything, but particularly Wicca has a lot of ritualistic practice that is not based in good. I'm just gonna put it that way. It's like a Ouija board. Everyone who engages in a Ouija board knows that there's something not right about it. It's a little bit dark. It's a little bit unknown, and whether you admit that or not is up to you. But I think everyone can feel there's something a little bit dark going on there.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, who knows?
And they sell them at toy stores. It blows my mind.
It does. Yeah, I know. That's crazy.
Oh,
it's
gosh.
Crazy. I used to have friends wanting to do, Ouija boards in a graveyard, and I said, nope, I will pass.
Yeah, that's a hard no.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, are there any other crazy experience you've had, or is that the main one that comes to your mind today?
I mean, I certainly could share some other experiences, but I should probably get permission first, because they happened within sort of a inner door tradition. Mm-hmm. And a lot of spiritual strange things happen in like the kind of spiritual traditions like Taoism. So yeah, I would need to get permission before talking about it.
Absolutely. If it involves other parties, then it definitely need permission. Yeah, I totally understand. Absolutely.
Yeah. But okay. Thank you for letting me share this with you, and hope maybe to have better experiences.
Yes, of course. Well, thank you again, Nick. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah. I wish you all the best in finding more interesting paranormal activity.
All right. Thanks a lot. And that is all for this episode of Cryptid Clues. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, thanks so much, Nick, for coming on to the show and giving us your experience. Be sure to check us out. CryptidClues.ca is our home base. We have a blog on there, and you can get links to our episodes and our social media channels. We're on Facebook and Twitter. And we're also on Patreon, where you can get exclusive episodes early. You can get episodes ad-free as well. And again, if you have any experiences you want to share with us, send us an email, cryptidclues@gmail.com. So until next time, we'll see you soon. Take care.